For our production plateau usually hits when a website is about 95% done.
Yeah.
It's that last 5%, that last little hump. I feel like it's like a football game. Years ago, there was a funny commercial with Steve Young, and he steps out into this press conference thinking it's going to be the press corps, and it turns out to be a bunch of wives of serious football fans, and they
Yep.
start grilling him. And one of the ladies says, "Why is it called the 2-minute warning when there's still an hour left of the game?" And that is the production plateau that I can best relate. We've got 95% of this thing done, and that remaining 5% takes as long as the other 95% did.
Welcome to Beyond the Build. This is a podcast where we talk with agency leaders about the work behind the work, how teams scale, where processes break, and what it really takes to deliver creative projects in today's world. I'm Sean Johnston. My guest today is Christopher Barbauld, president of the Barbauld Agency. Christopher runs a small but mighty team navigating branding, websites, and full-service marketing. Christopher, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today, Sean.
Awesome. Let's start with a quick intro. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I am the president and idea man of the Barbauld Agency. We're located about an hour out of Chicago in Northwest Indiana. We have a team of 5 and do all different types of amazing work. We've won 23 international awards, everything from billboard design to radio spots to business cards. We're up to 6 marketing effectiveness awards at this point. So
Fantastic.
really take a lot of
Congratulations.
pride in the work that we do and everything like that. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I love fellow craftspeople. It's being good at what we do is satisfying, I'm sure.
It is.
So you called yourself the idea man. Tell us about your role and how your team approaches web projects within your broader marketing mix.
Yeah. So that was one of my worst ideas, actually. I got that nickname from a college professor when we were working.
I saw it in your LinkedIn history.
Yes. And it was a campaigns class, and I had to come up with the ideas, and then the rest of the class made it a reality. And I was like, you know what? I probably should be able to do that in real life.
Yeah.
So I started an agency, and then from that point, with working with websites and stuff like that, being someone who has ADHD and an owner of a company, you jump around a lot. You jump from task to task, you know, especially our agency, in the morning, we'll have a meeting with a tire company. And in the afternoon, we'll have a meeting with a wedding dress shop. And then at the end of the day, we'll have an orthopedic company. So you are dealing with all different types of industries, all different types of needs, asks, wants. I've always found that for myself, really, really having a strong team behind me is what works the best.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned the hard way. That's a lesson I'm still learning, is that you don't have to master everything and hand it to people. You can actually just work with people and let them own it.
Yes.
It's easy to fall in the trap of taking everything in on yourself, right?
Yeah, there is definitely those 2 traps that I see the most, right? As we talk about processes. It's either the one that wants to do everything or the one that wants to do nothing, but doesn't give enough information to do the something.
That's right.
Having this business for 17 years now, I've been fortunate that I've had a team member to work with. And I knew that was at a young age, I knew I wanted to own a business. I didn't know what kind of business, but it was instilled into me as a young age, like, don't ever be scared to hire someone smarter than you, which is a great thing to tell somebody. And then the other thing is hire your weakness. Like, if you can hire the exact same thing that you do, that's a great idea for year 10, year 15, or to get out of the business and have it start to run a little bit of itself. But up to that point, be lean, be mean, and hire the people that can't do what you can do. So with myself, I was always, as we call it, punting, that I punt different projects and I'd hire experts in those projects. Right. But I always had a great number 2 with me who always asked a lot of questions. What do you really want out of this project, Chris? Like, being the idea man, I'd be like, we should put a logo on the moon. And they'd be like, that's a great idea. I'd be like, cool.
How are you gonna do it?
I'd come back from the client meeting and they'd be like, what did you sell? And I'd be like,
yeah,
we're going to put a logo on the moon.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to do. And they're like, how do you plan on doing that? And I'm like, not my job. Have a good day. But the number 2s would sit down with me and they would work through the high level and get it from a 10,000-foot view down to a 1,000-foot view. And once they got down to a 1,000-foot view, they could give it to the rest of the team, and the rest of the team could do their part.
Yeah. It's a good segue into the next question. Like, how do projects typically flow from idea to approval to being built to being launched inside your agency?
For us, we'll sit down, we'll come up with, for websites, we sit down and say, hey, these are the pages we're going to do, talk through them with all of that, get a feel for branding, maybe even pull up a couple websites for them to look at. We do a thing called Finding Their Voice, which we use about 72 different flashcards that have adjectives on them.
Okay.
And then we find out, what is their style? What do they enjoy? What do they resonate with? I usually try to pick a Fortune 500 company that they can relate to.
Yeah, something aspirational.
Yep. And then we have a litmus test. Is this something that you would see from this company, but with this mission? And then we go off and find a couple different websites, talk through it with the client. Is this what you're thinking? Great. Then we go back, we sit down as a team and say, all right, it's a 15-page website. This is about the company. This is the aspirations. This is where they see themselves. And then the project manager starts to put in stuff into Asana for us. We are a heavy user of Asana. And from there, it goes into the copywriter and the graphic artist getting together, talking. That's something, as we talk about fun projects to lead, that you really have to find out from your team. Is it going to be graphic arts first and then the writing, or the writing and then the graphic arts?
That's right. Yeah. There's different times for that. Yeah.
Yes. Working with many graphic artists over the years, that some can work and just use Epsilorum, and some have to have those words in order to make the pretty picture. So it's always fun to see how different dynamics work. And then they get together, work through some stuff. We come up with mock-ups to go back. We usually mock up the homepage and one internal page to show the client, get their sign off, and then after that, start programming and making the rest of the site live. We use WordPress a lot, get in there, do our WordPress thing, and then go back to the client and do a reveal like, hey, how do you feel about this? Take a few days, examine it, and then we go through their checklist of changes. Sometimes, hey, you misspelled this word, and it's something small. Some of it is this section I don't really like. I wish we could do it differently.
Cool. So if kind of an organic approach to the whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. So where do you see the most friction with multiple disciplines that needing to collaborate on a site like that? Like where do things get tough?
I would say the two things that I see where it gets tough is that who needs to start the ball rolling? Is it the graphic artist or the copywriter? A few years ago, we had a team member who was an amazing graphic artist, but she was someone who wanted to start with the words and build a website off of that. We have a graphic artist who's been with us for 10 years, and she prefers to start the process and then have the copywriter come in a little bit and say, hey, I need a chunk for about 50 words here and about 30 words here. That is a big sticking point, trying to find out who's going to get the ball rolling depending on the talent on the team. And the second one is getting approvals from the client once we build stuff. Like once the website's launched, then it's doing some SEO from writing some blogs, different things like this. And we're creating more pages for the website. And one of our clients, I think we're at month 2 that, they still haven't approved everything.
Yeah.
We'll pull it up in meetings to try to speed it up a little bit. Like, hey, here's your new website page. What do you think? Oh, it looks so nice. It looks great. Later this weekend, I'll make sure that I read it, get back to you with an okay.
Yeah, and then they don't. Yeah.
Crickets.
Classic.
Yes. Those are the two hiccups I see.
Nice. Okay. So how is your team structured today, and how has that changed over time?
So today, we have a graphic artist who's absolutely amazing, been with us for 10 years. Her name's Sarah. We have Ursula, who is our project manager. She's actually a dear friend of mine and then came to work with us 3 years ago. And they are both local in this area. I have a accounts receivable and payable person who is my wife. She came on board in 2020. Anyone who is thinking about working with your spouse, don't. We used to joke. We used to make fun of those people that work together. And we were like, we will never do this. This would be terrible for our marriage. Oh my God, this would be horrible. And then the pandemic outbroke and we didn't have a choice. She was selling ads in her own business and she did not feel comfortable going out during the pandemic to make sales. And at that point, our graphic artist, Sarah, was 8 months pregnant right when it started. So we needed someone to help manage the new processes of, are we going to freelance some of this stuff? Are we going to hire? Are we going to hire an intern? So we did a little bit of different things, but we needed my wife's help trying to coordinate some of that stuff during that time. Extremely stressful times. But then I kind of found a way to work her into a position that we don't get to interact very much, which is the best way to work with your wife or husband.
Rules of engagement. I imagine that's probably very helpful. Yeah.
Exactly. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Trust me. My stepmom and dad did it for years, and they had a great marriage. My stepmom passed away 2 years ago, but they moved to a whole new town. They only knew each other, and then went to work together on the first day in a small little business that there were only like 5 other employees. 15 years later, they had amazing friends and everything else. But I'm like, oh my gosh, don't take the same car to work, then take the same car home.
Yeah, it's just constant togetherness.
Yes. And then we have Brianna on the team. Brianna lives in Cody, Wyoming, and she is a little bit of everything. So she's our marketing manager. So when I have my big idea, I sit down with Ursula. Hey, what if we blah, blah, blah? Ursula works with me to get it down from 10,000 feet to 1,000 feet. And then from there, she meets with the other team members, explains the project, gets them an understanding, and lets them do what they need to do. Brianna does some of the copywriting, some of the programming sometimes, depending where we need her to drop in. She's a great utility player.
Yeah.
So
I noticed we're at the agency level the same way. Small teams tend to have what I call unicorns.
Yes.
Yeah, they can wear a bunch of hats, do a bunch of things, and be effective. Yeah, you need at least 1 or 2 unicorns on the team.
You do.
Yeah.
You really do. That's something Sarah, when she started, she was our first full-time employee, and we had a part-time unicorn already. I taught Sarah the whole aspects of the business, from sitting down with her and teaching her about what a P&L is to teaching her about marketing. A big belief I have is it can be the most beautiful whatever, but if no one sees it, it doesn't really matter.
That's right. It's got to work. Yeah,
it's got to work. So Sarah really became a full-rounded, understands the process, can run the whole show even if I'm not around, and does an amazing job with that. It's really funny to see when we hired someone else a couple of years ago, another graphic artist. So we had 2 full-time graphic artists at the time. That with the second graphic artist, she just wanted to design amazing things and do none of the rest of the process. And I had a different project manager at the time, and they were like, well, she should be like the lead creative director. And I'm like, but she doesn't know enough about the rest of the business to do that. Right. And that was a very interesting conversation him and I had about what qualifications for the Barbauld Agency as a business, because not every business is the same by any stretch. But what do I want from a creative director versus another agency might?
That's right. Okay, so we'll just maybe talk a little bit about the production plateau as a concept. So this is that point where putting more time or more money or more people at work doesn't really help anything move faster. Like when you think about the production plateau, what does that look like in your experience?
For our production plateau usually hits when a website is about 95% done.
Yeah.
It's that last 5%, that last little hump.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a football game. Years ago, there was a funny commercial with Steve Young, and he steps out into this press conference thinking it's going to be the press corps, and it turns out to be a bunch of wives of like serious football fans, and they start grilling him. And one of the ladies says, "Why is it called the 2-minute warning when there's still an hour left of the game?" And that is the production plateau that I can best relate. We've got 95% of this thing done, and that remaining 5% takes as long as the other 95% did.
Yeah, it's the it's the 80-20 rule.
Yes.
The last 20% is 80% of the work. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what parts of the web projects consistently take longer than they should at your agency?
It's that part there. I haven't yet to diagnose it. Something stalls, and it happens each time. And each time it's a little bit different that I haven't been able to find out what that missing puzzle piece is.
Is it a mix of like just getting the client to commit to things, or is it later in that stage when they start wanting to do different stuff and it becomes hard to do it, or a mix of the two?
I would say more the first one. It's more of getting the clients to commit. And even some of it is pre-client view. It just slows down a little bit like, okay, what is that last little bit that's just not gelling
Yeah, I find like when it gets down to that last bit, sometimes clients can't articulate what they don't like. They just don't like it enough to approve it. And you have to put your client whisperer hat on and try to figure out what are they not saying. And with different people, like different types of clients, sometimes that could be really hard. Sometimes you get the clients that can only give you negative feedback. I don't like that. I don't like this. I don't like, there's
Yes.
nothing to work with. Yeah.
We had one client one time, we put an ad in front of them and we had blue as the main color and black as the accent color. And that was in their logo. That's how it looked. Blue was the prominent, black was the secondary.
Yeah.
And they go, we hate it. We absolutely hate it. But they couldn't say why. They're like,
Yeah.
that's the most ugliest design I've ever seen. And just really teared it down. Sarah went in the other room and just flipped the colors. That's
Oh, and
all
then they
she
loved
did.
it. Yeah.
Not one other thing. They go, oh my God, this is the most beautiful ad I've ever seen. At that point,
Yeah.
we realized, and this was at the beginning of the relationship, it was definitely one of those things like, ooh, they cannot articulate
That
at
was
all.
the main reason we actually switched to prototyping everything before moving into design, because I could keep them focused on just practical feedback on flow
Oh,
and content, and then you dress it up rather than
okay.
them having content problems that they're getting distracted by through design stuff. So separating those two things can be a real difference maker, at least from my experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, like how did design and development interact today? Where do those handoffs get messy? You've got everything designed and
Yeah.
approved. Yeah, what does that look like?
I would say the handoffs have got exponentially better the more that I'm not involved with them.
Ah,
It's amazing. I think as business owners, we all do this at some point. The client's like, can you have the widget by Tuesday? And you're like, of course I can have it by
of course you
Tuesday.
can. Yeah, sure.
And then you go back to the team and like, we've got to have that by Tuesday. And they're like, what
Yeah,
are you doing? So now when I go, can we have the widget by Tuesday? I go, let me check with the team. I'll
yeah,
get back to you by the end of the day. I always tease the team. I'm like, look, I'm trainable. I'm
yeah.
trainable. I've got this. You
I
guys
can
done a
learn.
great job of training me.
That's funny.
But what's really helped is Asana. Having a project management
Documentation.
tool.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And then having deadlines that you can follow, see who on the team is dropping the ball. This is how I run my business. I'm not saying this is right for everyone. I try to once a month have a meeting with each one of my team members, not from a performance standpoint. There's a lot of people that do that, which is great, but I just try to talk to them about how their life's going, what's going on outside
yeah,
of the four walls. I've developed a great team and they've trusted me with that, and I trust them with when I tell them what's going on and stuff like that. My personal belief, if I know you're having a hard time with the babysitter, let's say, when you come to work, I'll ask you, hey, how's things going with the babysitter? And I'll also keep my ears open. And if I have friends that start talking about it, that I'll be like, hey, tell me about your babysitter. Or that
yeah,
way I try to help the person even outside of work. My
yeah,
thought is if I can relieve some of your stress outside of work, you'll
yeah.
be better inside of work.
Yeah, I found like we're all just folk. Like people want to be safe, they want to be seen, they want to be met.
Yes.
And that's the same at home as it is at work. And as business owners, like there's a interesting relationship between payment and product.
Yes.
I've also found like if you can create a safe environment, it changes the tone of what you do. It really helps calm some nerves down, being flexible, all
Yeah,
really important. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. And it also allows so when something in Slack becomes overdue, it's never a question of why is that overdue?
Yeah.
How are they not getting their deadlines done?
Yeah.
Instead, by having such a great team who we all are very open to each other, we all want each other to succeed. It's taken some time to get to this core people that
Yep.
want that for each other. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that just because you put two best friends in the same room and
But those cultures are modeled too. That comes from leadership as much as anybody else. That whole internal cultural, because we have a lot of neurodiverse people on the team,
okay,
and so visibility, like predictability, is super important. So like I agree, like document everything. That
yeah,
way everybody knows what everybody's doing, and you're not leaving it to everybody to make it up as they go along.
yes,
But for that flexibility, a neurodiverse person will get dysregulated through the day. Like the nervous systems kind of come and go. So we have to give them opportunities to slow down if they have to, take a moment if they have to. And that only happens with attunement if you're paying attention to what people are doing. Yep. That takes time and effort.
it does. And there's a way to
Yeah.
do that even if you're not in the same room. I
Yeah.
was talking about Brianna being 2,000 miles away. Like you
Yep.
just have to want to care. I always tell people that I'm that friend that if something happens at 2 a.m, I'm the one you call. I'm going to come get you. I'm not going to ask any questions
I'm the
other
same way.
than why wasn't I invited? That sounded fun. I am the person that you call, and I try to express that in my team that you guys are helping me live my dream. So
Yep.
what do I need to
Yeah.
do to help you
Yeah.
not have a nightmare?
That's right. Yeah.
Whatever it is. So
Yeah. No, I
I'm
really admire
truly
that.
showing great appreciation for that. Asana has really helped with, and being a person that doesn't work well in that system, having the forethought to go, okay, what's causing some hiccups in our process, realizing it's me and
Yeah.
working hard to remove myself from that process. And that is an interesting thing that as a business owner, you have to really know about yourself. That takes a lot to admit that
Yep.
you're the problem.
Yeah. I had that moment 5 years in of the 14 years when I had created a horrible culture. Everyone was super stressed all the time. Nobody knew what was going on. And yeah, I realized it was me. That was right around when I got my ADHD diagnosis. That's when I started having to hand a lot of the management pieces, the
Yes.
practical management pieces, to people more appropriate for it, so I could use my energy for things that were valuable and not for things that were not valuable.
And being two people that have ADHD, I've worked my ass off to overcome what I can and learned how to turn some of it into a superpower now. But the one thing that as I continue to work hard at it, I'm not even making baby steps. And that's a really hard thing. And that's when you have to decide as a business owner, can you spend 12 hours to try to improve yourself to be this next version of yourself? Or
Yeah.
is it better to hire someone who is already that person?
Yeah.
And enjoys it. For me, I needed a project manager because in my eyes, having ADHD, I could
Yeah.
not tell the difference between, well, this client needs a business card and this ad is due at noon. They were both a
Yes.
priority level one.
Yep.
Get them done. Let's get them back to the client as fast as possible.
No, I hear that.
So getting myself out of the process made a big difference. The other thing
Yeah.
was using Asana and having the team and giving the team what they wanted. That's something they wanted from the standpoint both of accountability and
Yeah.
of helping them. So now they'll have conversations inside there like, I'm ready for this. Here's this part. Another big part that we do is we have Monday morning meetings where we get together as a team, talk through what is going on this week, how is things going with this client, taking the temperature of the clients. I also take the temperature of the staff. I make sure that we try to have a good laugh in the morning and set up the day. And like I said, keeping myself out of that process, because what I used to do would be I would see something, I would talk to a client, something would happen, and I would put it in Slack, and they would be like, that's
And
an
then it's just
Asana
lost.
thing. Why is he putting that in Slack? And
I'm
really,
guilty of
really
that too.
gunk it up. So now Chris just learns he has a project manager and an amazing team. No touch.
There you go. You mentioned that you do a lot of your work in WordPress.
Yeah.
Do you have any like specific tools or builders that you guys use for your projects, and like how have they helped or slowed you down?
Yeah. So we used B-Theme for quite a few years. Enjoyed that one. That one was pretty nice. We switched to Elegant.
Yeah, Elegant. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yes, I think so, right? Like I said, as the more successful your business becomes, you get less and less involved in what you started the business to do. So that one we've used for the last 2 years, and I think we're going to go back to B-Theme. I've learned the one that we use isn't easy enough for a client to be able to just do some small tweaks that they want to do. It's too difficult.
Yeah, clients being able to do stuff that they think is easy and have it not be easy can create some issues.
Yes. And that was something that we learned along the way.
What do you mean I can't add a headline? I should be able to add a button.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I paid you X amount of dollars. I should be able to do these things.
Right. My favorite was I got a phone call. Once again, the idea with being a business owner is learn from your mistakes. There's no such thing as failure unless you didn't learn. And
perfect. Yeah, I agree.
I used to give them the keys to the Ferrari and say, here you go. And then I got a phone call one day and this person's like, there is a giant cat on my homepage. And I'm like, do you know the cat? I don't know why that was my first question, but I was like, do you know this cat? And they're like, it's Bubbles. And I'm like, is Bubbles your cat? And they're like, yes. And I go, I think when you clicked upload, you accidentally clicked Bubbles instead of the picture you wanted. But it was just a matter of just sitting there trying to figure out. But
yeah,
and then
how did it get there? We're asking the wrong question.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Why is Bubbles on my website? And then we went to the extreme opposite end where we didn't give them any access, and
Oh, and it's too
then
rigid.
too
Yeah.
rigid. And
Yeah.
then with Beefy, we found a good sweet spot where people could edit it, and then they knew what they could do. We could lock down certain things. That way they wouldn't get in trouble, and it wouldn't be too terribly hard in order to bring them back from the depths if they really did mess it up pretty bad. And then using this one, we switched because we thought this one would load faster and do different things for us. And we accidentally went too far, and
Yeah.
they have
That's
the access, but they don't have the ability.
that's actually one of the upsides of Gutenberg's visual editing
Yeah.
experience and the whole low code approach, because the back end and the front end, that's sort of the magic of blocks, is that they're the front end and the back end at the same time. There's no theme, right?
Okay.
So when they're editing the content, it looks like the same as the front end. And for a lot of clients, that makes it so much easier for them. They're like, I'm just going to type in text and they can see it be too long or
Okay.
the wrong color at the same time. A lot of clients never go past just clicking on the editor and editing content. But for the ones that are more ambitious, then you've got lots of other things that you can do. And it's WordPress, right? You can lock down stuff and do whatever you got to do. So aside from that, do you notice any other patterns across projects that you guys keep getting stuck on? You mentioned approvals as well.
Yeah, approvals as well. We switched over to a new system. I'm not going to remember the name of it. It's not going to come to me. But being a full service marketing advertising agency, we also design billboards, radio ads, TV ads, PPC, display ads, social media, you name it, we design it and develop it and make it effective. We have a platform that we can put that type of stuff into proofing software. And then that proofing software takes the burden off of our team and does the heavy lifting of sending reminders, gives them a place to put a little X and say, I'd like this changed, make this a little bit brighter here, so on and so forth, which is helping a lot. That was a big game changer because that was something that was a little bit of friction a couple of years ago when we had a graphic artist who only wanted to do graphic arts. And I said, well, I need you to also do this part. We're a small team. We don't have someone who can chase down approvals. They were like, can we put deadlines on it? Like, if it's not approved by next Friday, can we just run the ad? I'm like, no, I'm not covering the $50,000
That's
bill
not how
when
it
we hit
works,
go. Like, no,
in
they
a
were not
perfect world.
happy with that answer.
Yeah.
I think having that has really helped, but there are times where clients are really busy. And I would say that's a current struggle of ours of,
yeah, you're going to make it easy for them. Yeah.
Yep. And that's the funny thing, like they come to you for marketing to make their business bigger.
Then they don't have time.
And then they grow to a point where they don't have time. It's a thing that we're working on and trying to refine that process for sure.
Yeah. I realized that we got into the cultural pieces in the middle of the practical pieces, which is fantastic. I love conversations that just evolve. Moving back to the cultural pieces a little bit, like, what do you think agency leaders don't talk enough about?
That's a great question. So two of the biggest books that helped me as a leader of an organization, one was called Creative Inc. It was about Pixar. And it turned out at the end of making Toy Story, that was a huge hit, big #1 film. They decided, okay, let's go and make another movie because that's what we do in movie studios is make movies. And either the programmers or the designers refused to talk to each other.
Okay.
Because the designer would like, I want the person's hair to wave like this. And then the programmer was like, do you realize I have to take every single strand and program it? Yeah. So they had a huge fight where they wouldn't work with each other. They implemented a thing where once a week, a designer goes to a programmer's desk and a programmer goes to a designer's desk.
Yeah, you got to break those silos down. Yeah.
Yes. The other one that was very helpful is called Radical Candor. It's having the conversations before they get uncomfortable and telling people just radical truth. Like, hey, this isn't going to work today, or that ad's not that great. And just having candor with each other in the company. I love the fact that I have a team that will call me out on something. Before I started my business, there were plenty of bosses. Actually, I don't think I had a single boss that I would call out on something. Like, what are you doing there, bud? But my team does that to me.
Yeah, me too.
And it makes
I'm
a
like,
big
I don't
difference.
have all the answers. Like, if you think I'm making a mistake, like, say so.
Yeah, tell me, please. I've tried for years, like, if this was named the Sean Agency, what would be the first 3 things you would change? And they'd always like, no, you're running great. So last year I had them write down stuff on postcards and had someone else read them. That way I never knew whose handwriting it was. That way they had the freedom to really talk and give some more feedback.
We used a tool, it's not called this anymore, but we used a tool called Office 5 that allowed for completely anonymous pulse checks in Slack.
Oh, okay.
Some really hard feedback, but when people feel safe just to just leave you feedback, then and you action on it,
Yes.
that can build so much engagement and trust.
Yes.
You just need to find a way to get them over being afraid that you're
Yes.
going to get in trouble or lose your job or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. And developing that relationship, I wouldn't call it necessarily friendship.
It's got the essence of friendship.
Yes, but it's a careship.
Yeah. Oh, careship. That's a good one. Yeah.
I just came up with that. I would say the other one last thing about company culture, there's a great book. You guys probably heard of Simon Sinek, Start With Why. And he wrote a book called Leaders Eat Last.
Yes.
And he
Yep.
talks about the military and all of that. I believe that in my heart because I see enough time where you hear from older business owners and other people like, pay yourself first and then pay your staff, or take care of you and then take care of them. Like, there is an essence of that is true, that there's some
Yeah.
stuff that you have to take care of yourself to take care of them. It's kind of like putting on the oxygen mask in an
That's
airplane.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I was
But
just thinking of that.
I'm paying them. They're eating before I am.
Yeah.
I am
No
making
question.
sure that as long as it is not a detriment to our clients and our business, that the staff, I try to make them happier at their job each day. Like, what
Yeah.
can I do? I don't ever want someone to have a case of the Mondays. Like, oh my God, I got to go to work today. Well, that sucks. Like, it's one
Yeah.
thing as the owner, you're going to have that some days, right? Everyone's going to have it a little bit. But if it becomes more and more of a problem, then you're having those Sunday night
there's
dreads,
there's something else going on.
there's
Yeah.
something else going on. And I always
Yeah.
try to talk to the team to make sure that's not happening. And for all those people who are like, pay yourself first, I would never pay myself first. I would,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I hired Sarah, we were a really small company, and I actually sat down and showed her the P&L. I said, so you know, this is the first year you've worked here. As you can see, your salary was higher than mine. Congratulations. Like, but she was like, oh, you saw a little bit of fear in her eyes. And I said, I'm not getting rid of you. Like, you are bringing an incredible amount of value to the business, both as a person, as a graphic artist, as a producer, as a human, as part of this team. So we'll find a way to get the P&L right.
Yeah.
And it did. It worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. We, it's a similar position, just getting focused on profit margin first. That can make a huge difference. I'm just going to hit you with a couple of rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire questions.
What's one small improvement any business could make that would strengthen its digital presence? We'll just dig into your marketing knowledge a little bit.
Oh, okay. The use of Google Business Profile.
Yep.
So the little thing when you search a store that pops up on the right-hand side of Google, that's called Google Business Profile. And it has a whole bunch of stuff that you should be doing for your business, from
100%.
posting weekly, making sure the hours are correct, getting reviews, huge. Also, if you're a smaller business and you're getting reviews and you have a deep connection with your clients or patients or customers or whatever, them using keywords inside the reviews, huge for SEO.
Yeah.
Q&A, filling out the Q&A and doing all of that. They're so focused on, I post on Facebook 12 times a day. No, stop it.
Not as effective. Yeah. +1, great recommendation. Where do you think small agencies can gain the most leverage in the next few years? Let's sort of look to the future.
Yeah, I think providing extreme over-the-top customer service.
Yeah, the human element. Yeah.
Human element. Because soon we're all going to be fighting for our lives against AI. Although I saw a pretty funny picture a couple of years ago. It said, for all of those agencies worried that AI is going to take their job, when's the last time a customer was to tell you exactly what they wanted?
That's right. Yeah, that's a good point. No.
But I think AI is going to make a huge, huge difference in our agency. You better strengthen the relationship more than, how's the kids, Fred? If the kids are very active in sports, you better buys Fred and his family 5 tickets to go see the game. And I really think it's a bit like they say, people don't remember what you said, they remember how you made them feel.
That's right. Yeah. We always say clients only remember how a project ends.
Yes.
Yep.
Speaking of company culture real quick, if we find a mistake and it goes to print, or there's a problem or there's a mistake or something like that, I called the client. I'm the first one to own the mistake. If any team members on the phone with the client, they own the mistake.
Yep.
And then we're going to
can't blame the client.
Never blame the client.
Yep.
It's better to lose the argument and win the client.
That's right.
And I had one person who worked for me for a while
Yeah.
who said, no, they're wrong. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care.
That's really not the point.
Not the point. So it is really coming down and owning your mistake and then making it right. Like earlier this year, I had 2 clients' buildings catch on fire. And one of them has been a client since the beginning. I literally didn't text them. We went to their Google business profile, put down temporarily closed, made the website post, made all the social media posts, wrote a press release, did everything for him. I've known him long enough that I don't even need approval. It was all done, right?
Yeah.
Because in that minute, he didn't need to tell someone, oh my God, what else do I need? I need my marketing team to what? It was take the initiative and do it.
Yeah.
And that human element.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think it's a good segue to the last question here, which is what kind of agency do you think is going to thrive over the next decade?
Agencies that learn how to adapt to AI and make the best personal connection to their clients as possible.
Yeah. No, I agree. So that's a wrap for this episode of Beyond the Build. A huge thank to my guest, Christopher Barbauld. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I just really appreciate you sharing all these thoughtful insights about your agency life, the culture, the production side of things. If you're an agency owner or a creative leader and today's conversation resonated, stay tuned. There's more coming throughout this season. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for joining me, Chris.
Thank you so much for having me today.